Guys, it's the first BSF, so we at least have to cover the first BSF, right? And we're going to take a look at WGP Hong Kong as well, just because, you know, we have famous players from Hong Kong, and they've been doing well, and it's been a new format, so we'll kind of take a look at that. So first off, this is Long Beach, and they were doing Standard and Premium, and there were some really interesting results for Premium. So look out for that. But first, we have the breakdown. Unsurprisingly, Bav Saga, really popular. Top 8, 7 of the teams are playing it. But then followed by Razile and Aleda Glima. Yeah, so the Razile's surprising, right? I would have thought there'd be more maybe other decks. But yeah, like Levidras at least. But that's like all the way down to 1. But yeah, 4 Aleda Glima, 2 Messiah Avas and all that. And then we take a look at the winning teams. Nearly all of them brought Bav Saga. The one which didn't bring it actually made it second. So a bunch of triggers there did not bring Bav Saga. But the Hard Dragons coming first, they were playing the Bav Saga, Messiah, and Levidras team. So the one Levidras made it all the way through as well. Followed by the Bunch of Triggers team, which was the Aleda Glima, Night Rose, and the Razile. Then Jesse brought the Bav Saga, Aleda Glima with the Ava lineup, and then the Unknown team lastly brought the Odium as the kind of unique deck, since, you know, the Razile and the Bav Saga were pretty popular. And then there we can take a look at some of the deck. We'll take a look at all the decks, right? It's not going to be a long day. The Bav Saga deck is pretty straightforward. I think we've seen a lot of these. This team did bring 2 of the Disfire, which means they had to cut, like, I guess they cut like a shield, because they're also running the axe too. Okay, axe, one of the mace. Twin cast as their choice. I know a lot of people running the fire Regulus, which I think is okay. And then the Messiah deck. The Messiah deck's pretty interesting. I'm actually kind of a fan of Messiah, like, as like a third deck, just because being able to just like bind the field is pretty strong against certain decks in the format. If you play like a super control lane kind of play style, you can be really annoying, and like your your Messiah draws can like just take you through all their aggression. So I don't really mind that. Once they put up their Violors, then it's a different story. Yeah, Messiah's pretty cool. And then we have the Levidras. Nice. I'm getting carried by Bav. Well, everyone is getting carried by Bav. That's just how it is, right? But this deck itself is still okay. You just do your Levidras things. Haven't gotten nerfed yet. Just go face, or, well, I mean, we've seen some Levidras games versus Bav go okay. They were able to control their attacks a lot. So I think it really comes down to knowing the play style, your game plan, and how to switch it up going against certain matchups. And against like non-Bav decks, I think Levidras is still very good. Then the second place team was the one that did not bring the Bav Saga, but they brought Night Rose. I think Night Rose, maybe not against Bav Saga. Like, with Night Rose, I guess because you're running this one's like not anything too crazy special. It's pretty much, it just looks a lot like what you'd run in a normal Night Rose build. But once you have the hostage engine set up, you do force your Bav Saga opponent to have to like go into mace, and then into the sword, which can be a bit annoying to do if they don't really have like Violors that you force them to reset the Violors and all that. Or otherwise, you just get free guards every turn from your back row, and it's like it doesn't really cost much. Like, you'll guard with a PG at some point, and then you just call the PG back and set it up and just force your opponent to deal with it. And if they don't deal with it, you just get value. So I think that's, but I guess you have the GB too. So when your Regard is retired, you can just mill 3 and then just pull it back and then still get the value. So you kind of have to force your opponent to retire it, and then they have to bank on you like not milling, because you might be going, oh, I'm hitting too close to the bottom of my deck, so I can't mill. But then you can do it and still get, so like, it's actually pretty interesting when you think of how it works. So maybe Night Rose is a pretty decent pick. You're able to just kind of play super lame against a lot of decks, but then against the Bav Saga decks, the ones with the retire matchups, you still have an out to their retire, which is not bad, And then we have the Aleda Glima. So Aleda Glima just does Aleda Glima things. yeah, not much there. Interesting that like we're still like the JP builds and the Western builds are very different. So English builds, we see people still running heals and more PGs, while the JP builds are just running no heals and 1 PG. I know, I think the second place player at Worlds was running a similar lineup to this as well. So yeah, pretty interesting to see the differences. And then the Razal deck. The Razal deck was just a straight up pile deck. So you got the Teethfeld Sergon combo with the Wisdoms. Yeah. Just pile through, I guess, right? Well, I think Dominic at Wells was also running, was also running pile, right? I'm pretty sure. So yeah, same game plan. Third place, they had the Bav Saga here. 1 Div Styre, 2 swords, yeah, 1 mace. So no double mace, but I guess it's kind of fine in the current meta. Yeah, just pretty straightforward Bav Saga list. And then the 4th place team, their Odium list. So we have like the new cards from the new set. So Thunder Colossus here, just replacing some of the before you run maybe like 6 cyclers, now you can still run even less, but this person decided to run energy cyclers, and then also being able to run Philia now. Before most of the time when you ran this in English you couldn't play with Philia, but now we can, and I guess it's just a straight up upgrade. It makes it just way better. So Odium in one of the 4th place teams deck choices. Then we also had the Razal that did not run a pile Razal, so it was just a normal, what was this? The Valtrosa build. So this is kind of your aggression. This is how you build a board early in the game with the hostage engine too. So this one can at least, I mean, before I think it was still correct to run the hostage engine because you can get some free guards from your Razal skill. So I think it's fine. And then we also had the Bav Saga there as well. And this one had a bit more of the weapons. So only 1 shield, which I think is a bit scary. But they ran like spear, maces. So the spear does draw. So I guess like it is your replacement kind of shield draw in a way. But it just means you're putting a lot of, you're overloading the left, or is it the right arm? I mean, I think it's the right arm. It's the right arm because you have to look from her point of view, right? So yeah, you're overloading your right side a bit more, or her right side a bit more. So, you know what I mean. But running the mix of the heal crits as well. So not running normal heals, but just with the crit heals and the restanding heals. But actually, I don't know if the crit heal is that good. I feel like the restanding heal like satisfies both of the things. Like the restanding heal will work against the Yigma shards and also work against the Jumbo Scrusher, while the crit heal only works against the Bav Saga main attack. But sometimes the Bav Saga main attack hits really big, right? So the heal there, the extra power might not be that useful, but you know, they came 4th place. They had a good run, so it should be fine. And then we also had Premium. Now Premium was very interesting. So Premium was singles, unfortunately. Normally you'd want it to be non-singles, but we had 3 gold paladins make it all the way through to top 8, and they were playing a Ezel loop build, which we'll get into very, very soon. There were also 2 pale moons, and from the picture they look different. One of them is probably like V Harry, and the other one I'm not too sure. And then there was a Narukami somehow, a Hellheart AIDS, and then a Delita Messiah. So I don't know what happened to the Shout Mill or the Fenrir OTK, but I mean it's top 8. I'm guessing they just didn't do top 16, because I do think the numbers for it should be still pretty decent, right? But yeah, top 8 with these, and then the winner was actually Brandon with the Ezel loop, followed by one of the Harrys, and then Ivan Wu was also playing an Ezel loop, followed by another Harry. So we'll kind of take a look at the Ezel loop. This is Brandon's list. So the main way to do the Ezel loop is that you go into GB8. So Lynx, Golden Knight of Lynx, Celta's winner. I mean, it's very similar to, I guess, the Besok loop a while back, because it just revolves around the GB8. But now you just have a really easy way to do it because you have Din Drain. So you give the effect to Din Drain and Din Drain at the end of battle also. When it boosts, you can just bottom deck the rear guard and another rear guard in the same column as this, and you stand it. So you just always have the best, not the best, the Celtus winner effect on this, and you're always calling. And the call is just you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, and then you call it. So you'll bottom deck the card in front, and then you'll look at top 2 and call it. And then this card's the Din Drain stands, so then you can attack again and keep on doing that until your opponent is dead. Now, how does your opponent? What happens? Your opponent gets triggers and an OT. Do you lose? No. So there is one. I think it's this one. Is Azultus. So when it attacks, if your Vanguard is Ezel, you can basically perform one of the. You perform the first one. So you choose one of your Vanguards and it gets the following red text. All of your front row reguards get 5k until the end of turn. And then it goes to the bottom of the deck, which doesn't matter because it will eventually come up. So all you need to do is have one of these in circulation, and then every time you call it out, your Vanguard will get the red text that gives 5k. So since this loop is technically infinite because you don't deck out anymore, you're going to be able to call this guy eventually until you reach like over 100 million, and then you're going to start doing damage again, and then since it's infinite, your opponent can't guard. That's just how it is. Unless they can just somehow get rid of this, but you have things like you have the Arthen, which will prevent you from targeting it or make it very hard for you to target. I think the only way to stop this will be to pop Honolese. Because Brandon does run this card, the Nahalanania, which lets you Soul Blast 1, and you bottom deck one of your opponent's rearguards. So you'll be targeting like on-board Honolese. And then this one is interesting because it forces your opponent to draw a card. So this is slightly different from the other Ezel loops. Those ones only go to infinite power. Well, this one can go to infinite power while forcing your opponent to draw. So they'll eventually deck out. But it still loses to Honolly, I think. Because I don't think, apart from this, to bottom deck a Honolly, if they've popped a Honolly, I don't think there's any way to countercharge. So you will just lose. Now, a lot of decks don't run Honolly anymore. So there's a reason why these decks did really well. But I feel like this is a bit of a win more card if you have extra power and your only way to like beat over things is to just infinitely attack. Then, you know, this feels like a bit of a win more. But I guess it is just one way to do with an onboard Honolly. So now that people have matchup knowledge, if you see this deck, I guess you just have to know how quickly they can pop off, or control when they pop off. And when you feel like they're going to pop off next turn, that's when you pop a Honolly. But there could be more ways around it. Like if you play like a counter charger and you eventually, I think Din Drain counter charges, right? So when it gets placed, you can counter charge. So I guess if you have another copy in the deck, you'll eventually get to it as well. But then you just have to make sure your deck size is like extremely small. So that's like your one way to get around Honolly, but you probably still can't get around multiple Honollies, right? Yeah, if they've popped 2. So pretty cool deck. I think it's a pretty cool deck. Very interesting format where, you know, we thought we had all the big unfair decks, but people are finding other unfair decks. I don't think this one was that hidden, but people just never brought it because everyone had like so many Honollies in their deck. It was like a staple because everyone was playing Grand Blue. But then now this flew under the radar because everyone's scared, like fearing other decks. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. Let's see how the format has evolved. This was the second place. This is Crest Harry, but it's like you're running the V engine. So I guess it's the only way to run Crest Harry nowadays, right? So it's like a stage Harry. So you're very stuck at the amount of Harrys you can have. I mean, the number of Excels you can have. But it's just like, yeah, I guess you have like a big stage, you just pump it up very big, and then your crest gets very big too. They still have to respect you because you have great strides. You have your vet to some extent. You had great strides, basically just the princess, and you can just make a board with Sentinel Restrict. So I think it's pretty good. And then after that, we also have the normal, I guess a more normal Ezel loop. So you still have the Din Drains. This one is not running the mill stuff. It's running Pika. Or Pichan. Yeah, so okay, that's cool, but I don't think there's this has Superior Ride, so you can Superior Ride up, and then I guess you can Spear X and things like that. But I don't think it's still running any outs to like Honolly. So if they do it, you lose. But yeah, it's the same idea. Loop it up, get infinite power. I guess you can countercharge, but yeah, this is just to help the Superior Ride. So that's kind of it. So yeah, very cool Ezel lists. I've said yellow Hellheart 8, but at least showing. No, I think is Hellheart 8 now. I don't think Hellheart 8 now is in infinite, is it? I remember it was very long, but I'm not sure. Was it infinite? Maybe it wasn't. No, it wasn't infinite. Yeah, so it is infinite, but this one gets infinite power, and I don't think Hellheart 8 does. So nice. And then after that, we also had Hong Kong. So Hong Kong was a top 16. This was for their WGP. 7 Mavsagra, 3 Virgilia, and 2 Shiranui. So a lot of red. Look at this, like 12 reds. And then at this point, I feel like, if you're a Youthberg and a Starshin and Maiga, you might as well just join Dragon Empire. Dragon Empire just has the better cards, the better OT, the better defensing role. It's a better place to be, right? And then the winner was Kit, so they came first with the Vigilia, and then we have Bear, so good old Bear here, second place with the Mavsagra. We have Deft. They were playing a Youthberg, so a Youthberg man all went up to third, and then we have Kin with the Mavsagra as well. And then first place, we do have the Vigilia build. This is very, very... So if you're Dragon Empire, by the way, run the starter, everyone will think you're running Bav, but then surprise, you're not, right? But yeah, so this is just running the new Vigilia card, the new rewrite, very, very strong. Just you restand the board, you get extra, you get 1 billion power. Running the very greedy build that I think we saw on stream once at WGP with only just 2 of the orders. Now, these get searched by your new rewrite. You can just grab it from the deck or drop. So no matter where they are, you can grab it, except if they're in the damage zone. So if both of these get damaged, you just have a very, very bad life. Okay, and that did happen on stream. But in a way, it is technically like correct to run low copies of these if they're so tutorable. So yeah, it's just run 2 and hope you don't lose them, right? It does give you space to run other cards. I think this deck is very, very limited on space because you want to run so many good cards now. You want to run the Persona Rides, so you can Persona Ride. You want to at least run some counter charge here as well. Fitting the Asian, the Ezwa, you have to run 4 of because this guy is busted. 15k base, 50k shield. Look at this. You have the PR that gives him fake resist and also extra power. So extra power and shield. So this is so good. Then you want the different like grade 1s that can look for grade 3s or different name grade 3s. You can always get your rewrite. So you have like you're running 5 copies basically of things that do that. Because Summit Flare and what was this card again? It was like Drag Ritter and Nurmi. It's like the very busty lady. That's the only way I can say it. And you also run this this Flare Cosmos. This guy just stands when your card in front. It's like your whole basically if you have these out, your whole field will stand. Okay, and this guy comes from the drop zone as well. So they'll kill it and comes back from the drop zone, and everything just restands, makes big numbers, field gets big. It's just really, really good. So overall, very strong deck. Came first. Yeah, very good. Not much else to say. Second place was Bears List. Bears is actually kind of interesting. Running the 1 Samedi. So a lot of people have been running these because you can't run 3-4 Vylords anymore. And then 2. So it's like kind of similar to Chad's build where they were running both of these just to kind of counterblast, like use the counterblast and get draws. But the main thing here is 1 sword. So actually committing more on the maces, because I know Japanese players or the Eastern players, they like to cycle maces and be able to like just control the board and play a slow game. And they're happy to just twin drive versus always going mace into sword all the time. They're happy to go like mace to control your board. And only running 1 sword, so you can't stack the power. You can't stack the power. And I guess if you lose a sword, it's very scary. But just search out the sword every single time, right? So yeah, only 1 sword is the interesting part, but that means you're also able to have space to run other things, especially the defensing roar here, which is very, very good. And then the third place was Def's Youthberg list. So not a surprising list, just pretty much the pile, right? Pile list with Corins and the Persona shield for more shield. a full exist build, so it's none of the weird funky full blast ones that we've been seeing, but also running some of the just 2x of the grade 2. This is the exalted dragon, right? So this one can at least call itself out when you discard it, and at least has boost. So it kind of helps with the bad board problem for Youthberg, but only running 2, which is like kind of expect like all of these cards help your board or do a simple function, which is search for more key cards, and then running the new Regulus piece that allows you to call 2. So that's nice. Youthberg, right? Now not a fraud, maybe. Running draws though. Draws in this format. You kind of have to. I feel like you kind of have to, right? And then lastly, you have the BAF Saga list here as well. So this one is also running only 1 sword. So again, like committing all to the mace and the shield. But this one's running 1 more of the Kangshanti, right? So I remember, and running no Semetis, right? No Semetis. So pretty cool, pretty interesting. Nice to see somehow these BAFs have changed, focusing less. Because I like before, it's just always 2-2-2, right? And then you just stack you have the option to stack swords when you just want to finish the game. But now you can like stack maces, right? Make your Vanguard column fat, make it very big. Control your opponent's board, right? So yeah, that's all the lists this week, right? Kind of exciting to see how everyone's doing, especially the premium lists. I have to say the premium lists are quite cool. Can't wait to see what the next place will bring when it comes to premium. If it's lyrical, I'm not sure. Like lyrical cup, it's just lyrical, right? Will be very interesting to see all the numbers. I think like if you can just report it. I think Sage might be looking for it. Maybe even tell Fuzzy. Would be nice to see on the ground numbers. We can see the Bushi Navi numbers, but usually they're a bit inflated because people sign up and then not show up. But I'll be really interested to see how the numbers are, like which places get less numbers and then which places get more based on, you know, what they're running. So I think that data will be very, very cool to see. But anyway, that's all for me today. There'll be more decks featured on VG Top Decks, I'm sure, with more people talking about what happened. So we'll see you then. All right, bye.